डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी।
Namaskar. I, Dr. Darshana Dalwadi, is welcoming you all to the lecture series of Master of Science Information Technology from the Chaitanya Studio of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. Dear students, in this lecture series, today we are going to discuss paper number 203, Object Oriented Analysis and Designing using UML, Block 3, Unit 1. In this lecture, we are going to see that how we are having different object-oriented technologies with the help of which we are creating simple diagrams which are helping us in describing our whole system. This is students something like we can say we have seen subjects like system analysis and designing. In that we were describing the system with the help of different diagrams. As an advancement to it, we are taking here object oriented analysis and designing. In it, we are using one different language which is called as UML. In UML, we are having different notations, different diagrams. With the help of that notations and diagrams, we are representing our whole system. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss introduction to UML, then classes, advanced classes, relationships, and advanced relationships. So let us start our discussion with introduction to UML. Now UML means Unified Modeling Language. It is a general purpose graphical modeling language used in the field of software engineering. Basically, it is used for specifying, visualizing, constructing and documenting the artifacts, means the major elements of the software system. When we are talking about UML, it was initially developed by Grady Butch, Iver Jacobson and James Rambo in 1994 to 1995, and they developed it at Rational Software, and its further development was carried out through 1996. In 1997, it got adopted as a standard by the Object Management Group OMG. It is an association of several companies that are controlling the open standard UML. This is what we have seen about UML, means what is it when it was developed. Now we are going to define it. So what is UML? When we are defining it, we can say the UML stands for Unified Modeling Language. It is a standardized general purpose visual modeling language in the field of software engineering. It is used for specifying, visualizing, constructing and documenting the primary artifacts of the software system. It helps in designing and characterizing especially those software systems that incorporate the concept of object orientation. We are talking about object oriented analysis and design. So the software systems which are based on this concept, in it basically we are using this UML techniques. It describes the working of both the software as well as the hardware. In your system, whatever task the software part is doing and whatever task the hardware part is doing, both the things are described with the help of this UML. Now let us move on goals of UML. What are different goals? Since it is a general purpose modeling language, it can be utilized by all the modelers. It is a general purpose modeling language, means for specific thing it is not made. It is generalized thing you can use for your specific system. UML came into existence after the introduction of object oriented concepts to systemize and consolidate the object oriented development. It came into existence after the introduction of OO concepts, object oriented concepts. What it will do? It will systemize and consolidate the object oriented development due to the absence of standard methods at that time. At the time of this object oriented concepts introduction, there were no standard methods which can be used for representing the system. So at that time UML was used. The UML diagrams are made for business users, developers, ordinary people, or anyone who is looking forward to understand the system. We are saying that UML diagrams are used in general purpose modeling. Any type of software you can represent with the help of UML. So for whom you are making the UML diagram? You can make UML diagrams for business users, for developers, for ordinary people, or anyone who is looking to work with the system. It also represents software systems as well as non-software systems. Whether it is a software system or it is a non-software system, you can use UML to represent that system in it. Thus, it can be concluded that the UML is a simple modeling approach that is used to model all the practical systems. We can say that it is a simple modeling approach which can be used to model all the practical systems. Now let us discuss upon characteristics of UML. When we are talking about it, it is having some features. First thing we can say, it is a generalized modeling language, means we can use for any type of software, any type of system, software system or non-software system. It is distinct from other programming languages like C++, Python, many other object-oriented programming languages we are having. But students, remember that UML is not a programming language. It is giving us the overview of our software, but we are not using any coding in it. So it is distinct, means it is different from other programming languages like C++, Python, and many more we have. It is interrelated to object-oriented analysis and design. It is having the relation with analysis and design. It is used to visualize the workflow of the system. You can visualize that with the help of UML, that how your system flow will be from starting to end. It is a pictorial language used to generate powerful modeling components. When we are talking about this, we are saying that it is a language, a unified modeling language, but we are not using any type of coding in it. We are using some symbols. With the help of that symbols, whole system is represented. So we can say that it is a pictorial language which is used to generate powerful modeling artifacts. Now let us move on conceptual modeling. Conceptual modeling means we are having the concept in mind that which type of model we will have in our system. A conceptual model is composed of several interrelated concepts. We have several concepts which are interrelated, and with the help of that interrelation, what we are getting will be the conceptual model of our system. it makes it easy to understand the objects and how they interact with each other. This is the first step before drawing UML diagrams. Before starting the drawing of UML diagrams, we must have clear idea about the conceptual model of our system. We are having some terms, or we can say some concepts which we need to understand before we begin with the UML. First thing we have, that is object. Now what is the meaning of object? An object is a real world entity. There are many objects present within a single system. In one system you may have number of objects. It is a fundamental building block of UML. To form your whole UML diagram, whatever fundamental blocks you require, we can say building blocks, that is your object. Then after we have class. As we have seen that it is object oriented analysis and designing. So it will have all the concepts of object oriented language. Like in that we are having object, class, then abstraction, inheritance. Each and everything you can have in this UML language. Now let us see class. What do you mean by class? A class is a software blueprint for objects, which means that it defines the variables and methods which is common to all the objects of a particular type. Particular type of objects we are having variables or methods which are common for such thing, then it is called as a class. We can say it is a blueprint for objects. Next one we have, that is abstraction. Abstraction is the process of portraying the essential characteristics of an object to the users while hiding the irrelevant information. Many information you will have which is of no use. So what to do? Irrelevant information is getting hide by the help of abstraction. It is one type of process which is helping us to show the essential characteristics only. Basically, it is used to envision the functioning of an object. Next thing we have, that is inheritance. Inheritance is the process of deriving a new class from the existing ones. Inheritance means you are having one thing from which you are deriving some other thing. That is called inheritance. Means we can say deriving a new class from the existing ones. Then after we are having polymorphism. Polymorphism means it is a mechanism of representing objects which is having multiple forms which are used for different purposes. One type of mechanism which is having different purposes but having similar name is called as polymorphism. Then after we have encapsulation. Now encapsulation means it binds the data and the object together as a single unit, which is enabling tight coupling between them. Encapsulation means it is doing the binding of data and the object. In a single unit, these two are bound with the help of this. Between them, tight coupling will be maintained by the process. Then after we have next point, that is object oriented analysis and design. Now we are saying that we are using object oriented analysis with the help of UML, but first we need to understand that what is object oriented analysis and design. So now let us discuss that. OO, that stands for object oriented, is an analysis of objects, and design means combining those identified objects. Object oriented analysis means analysis of the objects, and object oriented design means whatever objects you have analyzed in your analysis part, you are combining this that identified objects, that is designing. The main purpose of OO analysis is identifying the objects for designing a system. The analysis can also be done for an existing system. Right now in existence you are having the system, you want to do analysis, you can. Or you can do it for the new system also. The analysis can be more efficient if we can identify the objects. Once we have identified the objects, their relationships are then identified and the design is also produced. Once you are identifying the objects, based on the objects, you are going to decide that how the relationship will be between the objects. And once the objects and relationships are identified, you are able to define the designing of your system. The purpose of object oriented analysis and designing is to identify the objects of a system, to identify their relationships, and to make a design that is executable when the concepts of OO are employed. These are three main purposes of object oriented analysis and design. Now when we are talking about this object oriented analysis and design, some steps are there which are involved when we are generating the system. It must be applied and implemented. So first step we have, that is object oriented analysis. The main purpose of object oriented analysis is identifying the objects and describing them correctly. After the objects are identified, the designing step is easily carried out. Analysis is done properly, you can make designing easily. It is a must to identify the objects with responsibilities. Now here what responsibilities refer? Here the responsibility refers to the functions which are performed by the objects. Means what is the object, what are the functions performed by the objects, that two things we have to identify in object oriented analysis. Identification of objects and identification of the functions which are performed by the objects. Each individual object has its own function to perform. When we are talking about the objects, each object will have its own function. The purpose of the system is fulfilled by collaborating these responsibilities. Second step we have, that is object oriented design. Now in first phase we have analyzed the system, identified the objects, and second thing, identified the the responsibilities of that objects. Moving forward to step 2, that is designing, object oriented design. This phase mainly emphasizes on meeting the requirements. In this phase, the objects are joined together as per the intended associations. In designing, what we are doing, whatever we have identified, we are combining it with some intention. Means whatever desired system we want, according to that we have to do the interconnection of that objects. After the association is completed, the designing phase also gets complete. The association of different objects is completed, the designing phase also gets completed. Moving forward to the third step, that is object oriented implementation. This is the last phase that comes after the designing is done. It implements the design using any object-oriented languages like C++, Java, or any other object-oriented language. So these three steps we are having. First one, object-oriented analysis. In it, we are identifying objects and its responsibilities. Second one, we have object-oriented design. In this phase, we are creating association, combining them together. And as it completes, the designing gets complete. And third step we have, that is object-oriented implementation. It will implement the design with the help of object-oriented languages. Then after we have UML building blocks. Now in UML building blocks, when we are talking about it, we can say that when we are creating the UML diagram, complete UML model diagram is generated by rotating around several different blocks that are called as the UML building blocks. These blocks are playing an essential role in developing UML diagrams. The basic UML building blocks are things, relationships, and diagrams. Now let us see about things. What is things? Anything that is a real world entity or object is termed as thing. Anything which is real world entity or any object is termed as things in UML. It can be divided into several different categories: structural things, behavioral things, grouping things, and annotational things. Now let us move on structural things. Now structural things means nouns that depicts the static behavior of a model is termed as structural things. Whatever static part you are having, you are representing it, then it is called as the static thing. They display the physical and conceptual components. The physical and conceptual components of your systems are represented with the structural things. In this, we can say class, object, interface, node, collaboration, component, and use case. All these are structural things. Now let us see class first. Class is a set of identical things that outlines the functionality and properties of an object. It also represents the abstract class whose functionalities are not defined. When we are talking about class, its notation is like this. We will have one square in which the first one will be class name, then its attributes and the functions. Then after we are having object. An individual that describes the behavior and the functions of a system is called an object. The notation of the object is similar to that of a class. The only difference we have is that the object name is always with the underline. Name will be there, with it we will have the underline. Here you can differentiate. Here symbol is same for class as well as for object name. But difference is what? Here in class name you are having only name of the class without any line, without any underline. But here we are having object name with underline. It differentiates it from the class. Then after we are having interface. A set of operations that describes the functionality of a class which is implemented whenever an interface is implemented. Its symbol is circle. This indicates interface. Then after we have collaboration. It represents the interaction between things that is done to meet the goal. It is symbolized as a dotted ellipse with its name written inside it. What it indicates? It indicates the interaction between different things. Whenever we have diagrams, collaboration will come when we want to define the interaction, and in it we have to write the name. Next one we have, that is use case. Use case is the core concept of object oriented modeling. It portrays a set of actions executed by a system to achieve the goal. The symbol is eclipse only, but without any dotted line, and in it you will have the name of use case. Then after we have actor. It comes under the use case diagrams. It is an object that interacts with the system. For example, a user. Actor means you can say who is interacting with the system. It may be a user or it may be other system also. It can also work as an actor. The symbol for representing it is like this. Then after we are having component. It represents the physical part of the system. Its symbol is like this, square with two other squares and name of the component. Next one we have, that is behavioral things. They are the verbs that encompass the dynamic parts of a model. See, in simple terms we can say the things which are representing dynamic part of a model is called as a behavioral things. It depicts the behavior of a system. As the name suggests, it will give us the idea how your system is behaving. It involves state machine, activity diagram, interaction diagram, grouping things and annotation things. After that we have behavioral things. First thing we have, that is state machine. It defines a sequence of states that an entity goes through in the software development lifecycle. It keeps a record of several distinct states of a system component, from initial state to different state. From there it may have another one, and at end it will have final state. Second behavioral thing we have, that is activity diagram. It is having the same representation, means symbols used are same compared to activity diagram. It consists of an initial state, final state, a decision box and an action notation. What activity diagram is doing? It portrays all the activities accomplished by different entities of a system. Then after we are having interaction diagram. It is used to envision the flow of messages between several components in a system. Means it is showing you how different components are having interaction between them. Then we have third thing, that is grouping things. It is a method that together binds the elements of the UML model. In UML, the package is the only thing which is used under the grouping things tag. Now you may have the question that what is package? Package is the only thing that is available for grouping behavioral and structural things. Means you can have in package you can have the combination of structural things as well as the behavioral things. You can combine both and can create a package. Then after we have fourth one, that is annotation things. It is a mechanism that captures the remarks, description and comments of UML model elements. In UML, not is the only annotational thing. Not is used to attach constraints, comments and rules to elements of the model. We can say it is a kind of sticky note which will give us the indication that what actually this particular type of object or class, or we can say anything, whatever things we have seen, structural things, behavioral things. So what they are doing, that remark we can give with the help of note. Then after we are having relationships. When we talk about relationships, it shows the association between the entities and defines the functionalities of an application. We have four types of relationships: dependency, association, generalization, and realization. Now in relationship, first dependency we have. Dependency is what? As the name suggests, something is there which is dependent on one another. So what is it? We can say the source element is dependent on the target element. Means when we are talking about this dependency, if we are having changes in target element, then it will affect the source element. Source is dependent on target. It is one of the most important notations in UML. It depicts the dependency from one entity to another. It is denoted by simple dotted line which will have one-sided arrow. Second one we have, that is association. It is a set of links that associates the entities to the UML model. It tells how many elements are actually taking part in forming that relationship. It is also denoted by dashed line, but now it will have arrows at both the sides. Then after we have generalization. It portrays the relationship between a general thing, means we can say a parent class or subclass, and a specific kind of that thing, means a child. Parent-child relationship, if we want to represent, then generalization can be used. It is used to describe the concept of inheritance. It is denoted as straight line with empty arrowhead at one side. Then fourth one we have, that is realization. It is a semantic kind of relationship between two things where one defines the behavior to be carried out and the other one implements the mentioned behavior. Means one defines and another one will implement it. It exists in interfaces. It is denoted by dotted line with an empty arrowhead at one side. Then after we are having different diagrams. Diagrams are the graphical implementation of the models, that is incorporating the symbols and text. Each symbol has a different meaning in the context of the UML diagram. There are 13 type of UML diagrams which are available in UML 2.0, and when we are talking about this 13, each of them is having its own set of symbols. Each diagram manifests a different dimension, different perspective, and different view of the system. Mainly three categories we have of UML diagram. When we are classifying it, we can classify it in three categories: structural diagram, behavioral diagram, and interaction diagram. Now what do you mean by structural diagram? It represents the static view. Students, just remember, wherever you are having structural, it means you are having static. Structural things, then static portion of your system. Structural diagrams, it means static view of your system. By portraying the structure of a system, it shows several objects residing in the system. We are having some examples of structural diagram, that is class, object, package, component, deployment. Then after we have interaction diagram. It is a subset of behavioral diagrams. It depicts the interaction between two objects and the data flow between them. Some examples of interaction diagrams are timing diagram, sequence diagram, and collaboration diagram. These type of diagrams are showing you that how your system will behave and how it will interact when you are having one particular state of time. So students, we are having the discussion of UML building blocks diagrams. We are keeping up to this in this lecture. Remaining portions we will discuss in next lecture. Up to that, have a good time. Namaskar.